Hello, coders. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, all depending upon where you're joining us from. And welcome back to another exciting session of CPT Guideline Mastery with AMCI. So, we are officially back after a short break, and I hope you all are doing amazing and steadily progressing your certification journey. All right. Thank you, Miss Mills, for letting me know that Mike is good. Thank you. All right, Coda. So you all have been doing a great job. Keep that momentum going because it's definitely showing. Okay. So today we are stepping into an important area in CPT coding. So stay focused, take notes, and get ready to level up your understanding. Okay, I can see you all are joining. How are you all doing? Type in the chat. Hi Kavida. Hi Simia. Hi. Welcome. Okay, so before we get into the fun stuff, let's quickly acknowledge the copyright notice. So CPT Copyright 2026 American Medical Association, all right reserved. CPC is a registered trademark of AAPC, and the AAPC content found within this presentation is a copyright of AAPC. Keyword concept FTR Chun, AMCI FAB 7, AMCI ICD 10, Flip, Tap, and MCG are trademark of AMCI. The credentials CPC, CRC, COC, CPM, ACPP, CPPM, CPCO are owned by APC. AMCI do not own right to these credentials. The credentials CCA, CCS, CCSP, RHIA, RHIT are owned by AHIMA. AMCI do not own right to these credentials. All right. Hi, Mima Godsava. Welcome to the session. Okay, Koda. So before we jump into today's session, just quick reminder. I would really like you all to take a moment and fill out the survey form, which we will be sharing. By the way, I'm sharing it now itself, but you can fill it out towards the end of the session and let us know how you feel about these classes. Your feedback is actually incredibly important to us. It's help us to improve and even bring a better content every single time. So I know some of you are actively engaging with us in the chat right now, and some of you might be watching the playback later. I will drop the survey form in the link as well, in the comment section as well. And please don't forget to share your thoughts with us. Okay, that's all we ask. And the best thing is that it takes less than a minute. So please do make sure you fill out that survey form towards the end. Okay, so the topic which we are going to review today is skin replacement surgery coding. All right, so give me a moment, coders. Okay, so I will share my screen once again. Be with me. All right, I just want to make sure my on clicks are working. So the topic which we are going to learn today or review today is from the integumentary system chapter, and we are going to review the skin replacement surgery coding. So it covers all those definition that comes under skin replacement surgery, the different types of graft, and their respective codes as well. All right, so that's the topic which we'll be covering today. So what is a skin replacement surgery? Do you have any idea? So basically it is used when person has a wound or an area of skin loss that cannot heal properly on its own. Yes. So you can think about the cases such as severe burn or surgical wounds that cannot be closed directly. And in this situation, body needs help to cover the damaged area. So skin replacement surgery basically usually have two steps. The first one would be the when the wound is surgically prepared. This means the doctor will be cleaning and preparing the wound bed so that it can properly accept the graft. Okay, and the second step is skin graft or skin substitute, is where the skin graft or skin substitute graft is placed over that area to cover and support healing. Now, why do you think that both steps are necessary instead of just placing the graft directly? I would answer that. It is because the wound bed must be prepared to ensure that the graft can survive and attach properly. That's why we do a surgical preparation and a skin grafting procedure. Okay. Now, here comes the important coding concept: the measurement of the wound area, and it depends on the age of the patient. So, in this section, for adults and children who are 10 years and older, we measure the area in square centimeter. So, for example, you might see wound documented as 100 square centimeter. All right. And here we are talking about exact physical size of that wound. But what about the younger children? So, for infants and children under 10 years of age, we do something different. Instead of square centimeter, we use a percentage body surface area. Otherwise, in short form, we call it as BSA. Okay, so you might see documentation such as 5% of the body may be affected, etc. Now, why do you think we switch to percentage for the younger children? Because this is more appropriate as children have smaller and varying body size. So percentage give a more accurate representation than a fixed measurement. All right. So that's why we use percentage of body surface area for the children's. And finally, all these measurements mentioned in this section refer to the recipient site, the area where the skin is placed or actually treated, not the donor site. So donor site is the area where the skin is taken from. All right. So are we good so far? Let me know in the chat. So let's move on to the first stage or first phase. This is the stage where most the skin replacement surgery procedure this is a stage where we have the surgical preparation, and this is reported using CPT code 15002 through 15005. So before any graft can be placed, the wound bed has to be properly prepared. Now think of it like preparing a soil before planting. If the base is not healthy, nothing will survive on the top. And in this step, actually, surgeon removes a non-viable tissue, which may include open wound, debris, burn, a scar, or scar tissue, sometimes extending down to the subcutaneous layer. So you can see, I've shared an image. You can see how the non-viable tissue will be removed, and the goal here is to create a clean, healthy surface where the graft can properly adhere. All right. Now, CPT describes that a clean wound bed may be created by incisional release of a scar contracture, which essentially opens up the scar tissue and creates a surface defect by separating the tissue. So when there is a scar contracture, it can be opened incisionally, and that's also a surgical preparation. Now, here's a very important concept in coding: the intent of the treatment. So, let's pause for a moment. When we say the intent, what do you think we are referring to. Actually, in some situation, the intent is to actually actively close and heal the wound. And this may involve direct closure, negative pressure wound therapy, or later reconstruction using graft, flap, or skin substitute. Now, even if the closure happens on a later stage, the overall goal is still to achieve active wound healing and closure. That is very important. Now, however, in other cases, the wound is not being prepared or wound is not being prepared for the closure at all. Instead, we are dealing with chronic wounds like diabetic ulcer or venous closure ulcers. And here the plan is secondary intention healing, meaning the wound is left to heal naturally over time. Now, here is a key coding distinction. We should not use a CPT code 15002 through 15005 when we are simply cleaning chronic wound or removing the dead tissue that is being left to heal on its own. Instead, you can use different codes depending upon the situation. So for active wound care, you can use the codes from 97597 and 97598. For the debridement of the non-viable tissue, you can use the debridement codes. As well as for the necrotic soft tissue infection, we use codes from 11004 through 11008, all depending upon the body areas involved. So in simple way, if the wound is being actively prepared for closure and reconstruction, that is when we use the surgical preparation code, that is 15002 through 15005. And if the wound is only being cleaned and left to heal naturally, we use the wound care or debridement codes instead. Okay, now let's talk about how the surgical preparation codes are organized. Now, CPT codes for surgical preparation are actually divided into two anatomic groups based on the location of the wound. The first group indicates trunk, arms, and legs. Sorry, first group includes the trunk, arms, and legs, and the second group includes your face, hand, feet, eyelids, mouth, neck, ear, orbits, genitalia, and multiple digits. So you can see it's being classified here into two groups, group A and group B. Okay, so in group A, these areas are reported using the CPT code 15002 for the first 100 square centimeters, and 15003 is an add-on code that is used for each additional 100 square centimeter or part thereof. And in the second group, also we have CPT code 15004 that is used for first 100 square centimeters, and 15005 that is used for each additional 100 square centimeter and or part thereof. Now, before we start coding, there are three very important rules that you need to remember. Rule number one: some wound within the same anatomic group. Now I will explain this with the help of an example. If a patient has 75 square centimeter wound on the right thigh and 75 square centimeter wound on the left thigh, do we code them separately? That is the question. Now, since the both wounds belong to the same anatomic group, the legs, we add them together. So you can see here in the column, group A have the legs, right? So right thigh and left thigh falls under the same anatomic group, that is leg. So we will add the square centimeters. So since both wounds are belonging to the same anatomic group, we will add 75 plus 75. That would be 150 square centimeter. Now the first 100 square centimeter is reported with CPT code 15002, and the remaining 50 square centimeter is reported with the add-on code 15003. Is that clear? Chat looks like silent. Chat is silent. Please call us, participate, and let us know. Is that clear? So this is one of the most important rule. Now let's move on to the rule number two. So the final code here for this scenario or this situation would be 15002 and 15003. Now rule number two: do not combine different anatomic groups. Now let's make our previous example a little more interesting. Suppose the same patient also had a 30 square centimeter wound on the face in addition to 150 square centimeter on the leg. Now, can we add the 30 square centimeter to the 150 square centimeter from the legs and report everything together? The answer is no, because face belong to completely different anatomic group, right? So face falls under group B here, and the thighs falls under group A. So the leg wounds is still reported with the CPT code 15002 and 15003, and the facial wound would be reported with separately with the CPT code 15004. So remember, combine wounds within the same anatomic group and never combine wounds from different anatomic group. Now we are moving on to the third rule. Use modifier 59 when both groups are reported. Okay, now let's say we are reporting both the leg wounds and the facial wounds on the same date of service. Since we are billing codes from two different anatomic groups, we need to show that these are distinct procedure service, and we will show that by appending 59 modifier to the second code set. Also, there is one more guideline which you must remember, that the wrist procedures involving the wrist and ankles are reported with the codes that include arm or leg in the description. Okay, so the wrist and ankle are included in the codes with arms or leg in their code description. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Now that we have completed the phase one, the surgical preparation, let's move on to the phase two, that is graft placement. Now, once the wound bed has been properly prepared and all the non-viable tissues has been removed, the surgeon is ready to place the graft. So graft is applied directly over the prepared wound surface and then secured using surgeon's preferred fixation method. This may be include sutures, the staples, or surgical glue, depending on the location and type of the graft being used. Now, here's a question for everyone: where can a graft come from? So to answer that, there are mainly two types of graft used. First one is the autograft, and autograft uses patient's own tissue. In other words, the skin is taken from one area of the patient's body and transferred to another area that needs coverage. Now, since these tissue come from the same patient, there are minimal risk of rejection. And the second type of graft is skin substitute graft. Now, these grafts do not come from the patient. Instead, they may come from a human donor, which is otherwise called as allograft, or animal source known as xenograft, or a laboratory manufactured or bioengineered material. So these products provide temporary or permanent wound coverage and also help to promote healing. Now, there are different types of autograft that we use for a skin grafting procedure. So they are your split thickness skin graft, you have full thickness skin graft, epidermal skin graft, dermal skin graft, tissue cultured skin, and skin cell suspension autograft. So let's take a closer look into each one of them. So let's begin with epidermal graft. So epidermal graft contains only the outermost layer of the skin, that is called as epidermis. And then we have the dermal skin graft. So as the name suggests, this graft contains only the dermal layer of the skin. Then we have the split thickness skin graft. So you can see the image that is provided here in the slide for better understanding. And a split thickness skin graft includes epidermis and only a part of dermis. All right, so it includes the epidermis and a part of your dermis. Think of it as a slice of skin. Because it is thinner, it generally heals faster and donor site and can cover at the donor site and can cover larger areas. And next we have the full thickness skin graft. This includes both the epidermis and the entire dermis. All right. So both layers are included in a full thickness graft, epidermis as well as the dermis. Now, since the full thickness graft is transferred, it is often provides better cosmetic results but requires more careful, carefully selected donor site. Now we have covered the different types of autograft. Let's take a look at how they are coded. So remember, we are talking about the conventional autograft, which means patient's own skin is harvested from one area of the body and transplanted to another area that needs coverage. And all the codes in this section follow same to anatomic location. First group would be the trunk, arms, and leg. The second group is face, scalp, eyelids, mouth, neck, ears, orbit, genitalia, hand, feet, and multiple digits. So again, this has been grouped into two, group A and group B for easy understanding. All right. And one more important reminder is that all measurements are based on the recipient side and not on the donor side. So don't get confused on when you are answering or when you're taking the exam questions. All the measurements here are based on the recipient side, not on the donor side. So for the split thickness autograph codes, we autographs we use the code 15100 through 15121. And for the trunk, arms, and legs, the coding starts with 15100, which is a base code. Okay, you can see here 15100, that is your base code, and you have add-on code 15101 for each additional unit. And for the face, scalp, hand, feet, which is a group B, the base code would be 15120 and the add-on code would be 15121. Next, we have the epidermal autograph. So here the code series are from 15110 through 15116. Next, we have the dermal autograph, which is coded from 15130 to 15136. I think I mixed it up. Epidermal autographs are coded from 15110 to 15116, and dermal are coded from 15130 through 15136. And lastly, we have tissue culture skin autograph, which are coded from 15150 to 15157. Now, when we reach the tissue culture skin autograph, we need to slow down a little bit because this is not like the other graft codes. Because here the tissue cultured autographs, they follow a three-tier reporting system. So here for the trunk, arms, and legs, 1511150 is used for first 25 square centimeter or less. Then we have 15151 for additional 1 to 75 square centimeter, and we have 15152 for each additional 100 square centimeter or part thereof. All right, so you can see there are three. It's a three-tier system over here. And for the for the group B, we have 15155 for first 25 square centimeter or less. We have 15156 for each additional 1 to 75 square centimeter, and we have 15157 for each additional 100 square centimeter or part thereof. All right. So yes, please do let me know if you have any questions. You can let me know in the chat. Okay. So we are moving on to the next slide. Now, from a coding perspective, we have to also talk about the full thickness autograph. So here, actually, there are four anatomic subdivisions. One is trunk, the other is scalp, arm, and legs. The third is forehead, hand, feet, genitalia. And the fourth one is nose, ears, eyelids, and lips. And they are reported in 20 square centimeter increment. So basically, all these codes are classified number one based on the location and also based on the total body surface area. All right. So make sure you churn your manual, and that will really, really help you to pick the correct answer. Okay, now let's look at one of the newest addition to the CPT code set. I'm talking about the skin cell suspension autograft, or in short form, we call SCSA. And you may also hear this referred to as spray on skin technique. So, unlike the traditional autograft where the sheet of the skin is removed and transplanted, SCSA works a little differently, where a small sample of the patient's own skin is harvested. It is processed into a suspension of the skin cells and then sprayed onto a wound surface. Now, from the coding perspective, CPT breaks down these procedure into three separate steps. Step number one. Okay, so step number one is harvesting of the skin, and it is coded from CPT code 15011 through 15012. So the first step is obtaining the skin sample. Surgeon harvest a very thin layer of the patient's skin, including the epidermal and dermal tissue. So for coding, we use two codes only: 15011, that is for first 25 square centimeter of the harvested skin, and 15012, that is for each additional 25 square centimeter. So you must have noticed something important here. At this stage, we are actually measuring the amount of the skin harvested, not the wound being treated. All right, so that's the only difference compared to the other grafting procedures. And then we have the step two. Step two is about preparation of the cell suspension. So once the skin has been harvested, it must be processed, and the harvested tissue undergoes enzymatic processing, mechanical disaggregation, and filtration process. And the goal here is to separate the skin cells and create a final suspension that can be sprayed onto the wounds. So for the coding purpose, the CPT codes used are 15013, which is for first 25 square centimeter of the harvested skin prepared, and 15014 for each additional 25 square centimeter. And now here's the most important coding rule you must remember, or you must take a note of. These codes are reported only when preparation is performed manually. If an automated processing device performs a preparation, the CPT code 15013 and 15014 are not reported. All right. So if you use something like an automation to prepare these cells, you cannot assign the CPT code 15013 and 15014. So please make a note of that. And this is an important coding guideline from SCSA. And then we have the step three: apply the suspension. So once the suspension has been prepared, the surgeon spray it onto the wound surface, and depending upon the clinical situation, the suspension may also be applied to the donor side. So the primary dressing applied at the end of the procedure is included in these codes and is not reported separately. So for the trunk, arms, and legs, you use CPT code 15015, that is for first 480 square centimeter, and 15016, that is for each additional 480 square centimeter. And then we have face, scalp, eyelid, mouth, neck, ear, orbit, genitalia, hand, feet, and multiple digit. For those locations or those body areas, we use CPT code 15017 and 15018. So if you have noticed that the application code covers as much larger area than many traditional graph codes. So you can see it covers around 480 square centimeter at a time. And before we move on, there is one really interesting feature of the skin cell suspension autograft that helps explain why this technology has become more valuable in the wound care area. So, what if we could treat a large wound without having to harvest large amount of patient skin? Yes, that's exactly why SCSA helps a lot to accomplish this goal. So, one of the biggest advantage of this technique is that its expansion ratio. So very small amount of harvested skin can generate enough skin cells to cover a much larger wound surface. So for example, you have if you have 1 square centimeter of the harvested skin, that can produce enough cells to treat approximately 80 square centimeter of the wound area. And there are a few more guidelines that you have to remember from this area. Remember, the recipient site preparation is separately reportable, and placement of the separate and additional autograph prior to the application of SCSA is separately reportable. Also, repair of the donor site requiring the skin graft or local flap is considered as a separate procedure. Okay, so these are the codes for SCSA. As I said, there are 3 steps, and we have different CPT codes for each of these steps. Okay, now that we have discussed the autograft, let's move on to the skin substitute graft. And the biggest difference between the autograft and skin substitute graft is very simple. Now, with the skin substitute graft, the material does not come from the patient. Instead, it comes from another source that helps to cover the wound and support healing. So these skin substitute products generally fall into 3 categories. First category is non-autologous human skin. This include both acellular and cellular products derived from human tissue such as allograft and homograft. Then second category is non-human skin substitute, commonly known as xenograft. So these xenografts are actually derived from animal source and are often used as temporary wound coverage. And the third category includes the biological scaffold products. So these materials are or they form or they act as a framework or support structure that helps patient cells to grow and regenerate new tissue. Okay, and there are few guidelines which is common from the other sections as well. Code selection is based upon the location and size of the defect. Some of the wound within the same anatomic group do not combine different anatomic groups, and debridement can be only coded if the gross contamination require extensive cleaning or significant devitalized tissue is removed or significant contaminated tissue is removed or debridement is performed as a distinct procedure. Only in those criteria you can code a deployment CPT code separately. Otherwise, it is included. And let's talk about finally about the code for the skin substitute. This is actually easier than it looks because CPT divides these codes into 2 groups based on the total wound size. If the total wound area is under 100 square centimeter, you will use small wounds code sets. So for trunk, arms, and leg, you have code series 15271, which is for first 25 square centimeter, and 15272, that is for each additional 25 square centimeter. Similarly, for the next group of areas, we have CPT code 15275 for first 25 square centimeter and 15276 for each additional 25 square centimeter. So you can see that these codes are built around 25 square centimeter increment. All right. And these 2 groups should be used only when the wound area measures less than 100 square centimeter. Now, when the total wound area reaches 100 square centimeter or greater, we switch on to entirely different code family. So for the trunk, arms, and legs, we have code series 15 273, which is for first 100 square centimeter, and 15274 for each additional 100 square centimeter. And for face, scalp, hand, feet, and related site, we have another set of codes 15277, that's for first 100 square centimeter and 15278 for each additional 100 square centimeter. So here you will notice that these codes are built around 100 square centimeter increments. Okay. All right. So I think that's all from the instructional side. So let me see, there's a question, how many different types are there? So if you're talking about the graft, for the skin graft, I think there are two types of grafts which you use. One is the autograft and the other one is the skin substitute graft. Okay, I hope the explanation helped. So it's time for some coding exercise. I have some great questions for you all, and let's start. Okay, here's the first question. You can type your answers in the chat once you finish. Don't hesitate to put your answers, even if it's wrong, that's fine. We are here to learn, and if you will learn something, that's priceless. So the first question, how should the surgical preparation reported for this scenario? Option A 15002, option B 15004, option C 15004, 15005, option D 15004, 15004. 59. A 45-year-old patient sustained scalding burns to the neck and both hands. The surgeon performs surgical preparation on a 40 square centimeter wound on the neck and 35 square centimeter wound on the right hand during the same operative session. How should the surgical preparation reported? So please coders, go ahead and place your answers in the chat. Okay, so yeah, yes, the video will be available. The playbacks will be definitely available. Okay, no worries, no worries. Okay, thank you for listening. So no worries, the playback are available. Okay, coders, your time begins now. This is a straightforward scenario, so I think you can solve it quickly. Okay, so your time starts now, coders. Place your best answers in the chat. All right, so that's almost time, and I can see a few answers in the chat already. So go ahead, coders, place your best answer. Give your best shot. Okay, don't worry if you get it wrong. Give your best answers. And so far, I see this is a great code selection. So let's go ahead and let's see if it's a correct answer or not. So here in this question, we have a patient with burns on the neck and hand. So in procedure inventory, we have surgical preparation wound, surgical preparation of the wound of the neck, and the surface area is 40 square centimeter for the neck wound, and surgical preparation was also performed for the hand wound, and the body surface area for hand is 35 square centimeters, right? All right, so let's have a look at the CPT codes. The CPT code 15002, that is coding for a surgical preparation, creation or creation of the recipient side by excision. The location is trunk, arm, and leg for first 100 square centimeter. Okay, so why is option A wrong? Because it's coding for a wrong anatomic location. We are looking at surgical preparation on the wound and hand, and we do have a specific separate code in 15004 that codes for surgical preparation of the face, scalp, eyelids, mouth. You can see the neck there, ears, orbit, genitalia, and hand is also falling under 15004, and this is for first 100 square centimeters, right? Yes. So okay, now we have option B that is coding for 15004, option C is coding for 15004, and 15005, which is for each additional 100 square centimeter, and option D is coding for 15004 and 15004 with a 59 modifier. So here is the guideline which we are going to refer to solve this one. For multiple wounds, sum of the surface area of all wounds from the all anatomic sites that are grouped together into same code description. So if the wounds are falling under the same anatomic group, we have to add them, right? And from what we saw here, yes, the neck and hand falls under the same anatomic group, and the CPT code would be 15004, right? So we have to add 40 plus 35 square centimeter, that would be 75 square centimeter. And CPT code 15004 covers that 75 square centimeter because it is coding for first 100 square centimeter. So 75 square centimeter is covered in that code description. And that makes option C and D incorrect, and option B is going to be the right answer. So those you have placed option B in the chat, amazing, great job. So that was a bit more straightforward. Let's do a little bit more challenging scenario. Here we go. Exercise number 2. Of the following answers, which best describe the procedure? Option A 15220 15002. Option B 15220 15221 times 7 with a 759 modifier, 15002 with a 59 modifier, 15003. Okay, and option C, I think yes. Or in option B, 59 modifier actually belongs only up in is I think it's only yeah, it's only for 15002 and not 15003. Okay, and option C we have 15100 15101 15002 with a 59 modifier, 15003. Option D 15100 15002. A patient with third-degree burn of the right arm is taken to the operating room for surgical management. After induction of the general anesthesia, examination reveals 15 into 10 square centimeter area of full thickness skin loss involving right upper arm. Initial wound preparation is performed with sharp debridement to remove non-viable tissue of 15 to 10 centimeter. A split thickness graft measuring 15 to 10 centimeter is harvested from the left eye and meshed and secured to prepared wound bed on the right arm. A blistering dressing is applied to promote graft adherence, and donor site is dressed appropriately. The patient tolerates the procedure well. Of the following answers, which best describe the procedure? So all the best coders, and as I said in option B, 15003 doesn't have a 59 modifier, so that's a clerical error order. Okay. All right. Any more answers? Anyone more to place answers in the chat? I know this was a little bit challenging compared to the last one. Go ahead, Codus. You can do it. Okay, I will start reviewing the scenario so you can place answers in the chat in meantime. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a patient with third-degree burn on the right arm, and there was a surgical preparation done, and split thickness graft was performed, right? Okay, so the surgical preparation, the surface area for the surgical preparation of the wound was 15 into 10 centimeter, 15 centimeter into 10 centimeter. So 15 into 10, that's total of 150 square centimeter, right? And split thickness, we have, yeah, and it's also a split thickness graft that was performed. And I think, yes, the recipient wound size was also 150 square centimeter. So CPT code 15002, that is coding for surgical preparation of the first 100 square centimeter, and the location is trunk, arms, and legs. So we had a third degree burn on the right arm, right? So we are in the right CPT code, and 15003 is for each additional 100 square centimeter. So we had a total of 150 square centimeter. So we have to assign 15002 for the first 100 square centimeter, and we got 50 left here. And for that 50, we have to assign 15003. All right, so that is your surgical preparation code. And from what I see, option B is not coding for 15003. So I can eliminate option A as well as option D. Okay, so both are not coding for the add-on code 15003. We are left with option B and option C. So option B is also straight away incorrect because it is coding for a full thickness graft. We are looking at a split thickness grafting procedure, right? So that makes option B. I don't need to go ahead and look into each of those code. I know that straight away it is incorrect. So first of all, first question you have to ask is whether a surgical preparation was performed or not. Okay, if yes, you have to go for the surgical preparation. Next question you must ask is what kind of graft is performed? Is it a split thickness graft, autograft? Is it a full thickness autograft? Is it a skin substitute? So you have to ask that as well. So the correct answer for this procedure is going to be 15100, 1501, 15002, and 15003. All right. So great job, everyone. And if you learn something, that's priceless. So let's quickly move on to the next exercise. Exercise number 3. Of the following answers, which best describe the procedure? Option A, 15100, 15002. Option B, 15100, 15120 with a 59 modifier, 15002, and 15004 with a 59 modifier. Option C, 15100, 15101, 15002. Option D, 15120, 15121, and 15004. A patient was taken to the operating room for treatment of non-malignant wound healing wounds. The first wound was located on the right forearm and measured 60 square centimeter. Second wound was located on the left cheek and measured 30 square centimeter. Both wounds underwent surgical preparation with excision of non-viable tissue and irrigation. Split thickness skin graft was harvested from the left thigh and applied to the both recipient. The graft was secured and the staples and dressing were applied. Of the following, which best describe the procedure? Alright, coders, your 2.5 minutes begin now. All the best. Great, great, great coding. You all are doing a fabulous job. I thought these questions might trick you all, but you all are doing a fantastic job. Amazing. All right, so quickly let me take you through this one. So, procedure inventory, we have a patient who had a surgical preparation of the wound on the right forearm, and the body surface area was 60 square centimeter. Then we had a surgical preparation of the wound on the left cheek, and the body surface area was 30 square centimeter. There was a split thickness grafting performed as well. All right, now CPT code 15002, that's coding for a surgical preparation of trunk, arm, and leg for the first 100 square centimeter. So yes, it covered our forearm, right? Yes, surgical preparation of the wounds on the right forearm is covered in CPT code 15002. And then we have to also code for a surgical preparation of the wound of the left cheek, right? So for that, we have to use a separate CPT code because cheek doesn't falls under 15002. So option D is incorrect because yes, it's not coding for a surgical preparation of the wound at all. And let's look into the split thickness graft code 15100. That is coding for split thickness graft of trunk, arms, and legs for first 100 square centimeter. And if you look at option A, it is not coding for a split thickness graft for the cheek. It's only coding for split thickness graft of the arms. Okay, so option A is also incorrect. Option D is also incorrect. Now let's look into the rest of the codes, option B and C. Now, option C, I would also say it's incorrect because that is also not coding for surgical preparation of the left cheek. So the CPT code for the surgical preparation of the left cheek would be 15004. You can see it's for a surgical preparation, yes, over here, of face, scalp, eyelids, mouth, neck, ears, orbits, genitalia, hand, feet, or multiple digits, right? So cheek falls under scale under the face, and it is covering for first 100 square centimeter. And also we have code 15120, that is for a split thickness autograft of face, scalp, eyelids, mouth, neck, ear, orbits, genitalia, hand and feet, and multiple digit for first 100 square centimeter. And that makes option B the right answer. And you all did a fantastic job. Okay, so I think we are almost reaching the time. So I will I think I had two more questions, but I think I will skip that and move on to the next part. That would be the poll. All right, so here is your first hand pull scenario. These are based on the guidelines which we learned today. All right, Koda, you can type this one in the chat. No need for a CPT manual for answering this one. Your question: when coding for surgical preparation, code series from 15002 to 15005, for a 6-year-old patient, which measurement metric must be applied to determine the size of involvement? Is it option A, total surface area measured in 100 square centimeter? Option B, diameter of the wound at its widest point? Option C, percentage of the total body surface area? Option D, linear length of the wound in centimeter. What say you, coders? Type your answers in the chat. All right, quickly, Golas, quickly. So you know you don't need CPT manual for this one, so you can easily answer it. All right, okay, and yes. So the correct answer is option C. Right? Yes, you are right. You are right. Option C is going to be the correct answer. That is a percentage of the body surface area. Why? Remember, we learned in the beginning. Remember? Yes, you have to use over here. It states the following definitions are applied to the code series reference underscore centimeter and 1% body area of infant and children. And when determining involve the body size, the measurement of 100 square centimeter is applicable to the adults and children 10 years of age and older. And percentage of body surface area applied to the infants and children younger than 10 years of age. So if the age of the child is less than 10 year, then we measure using percentage of the total body surface area. All right, not in square centimeters. Is that clear? So that's one guideline which we learned today. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, here we go. According to the guideline, how should you report surgical preparation of the on the ankle? Wound on the ankle be reported. Option A, use a separate code for the ankle as a distinct anatomic site. Use codes specifically designated for joints and extremities. Use codes that include leg and descriptor. Use codes that describe foot and multiple digit. What say you, coders? If you careful, if you were forensic when I was reading those guidelines, you're going to nail this one. You got this, coders. Place your answers in the chat. Okay, no answers so far. All right. Any other answers? Give your best answers. Even if it's wrong, that's fine. Okay. Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right, Miss Catherine. Don't be afraid. Give your best answers. Okay. All right. Yes. I think. Hmm. Okay. So the correct answer is going to be option. Sorry, I see that there are uh multiple sorry for that. There are two A's here. The correct answer is going to be option C. It should have been using the code that includes leg in the descriptor. Remember, the ankle fall under those codes with the code description that has leg in it. Okay, and if you have a wrist, that falls under the code description that has arms in it. All right. So yes, so that is the guideline. And here we go. There you go. There is a guideline for your reference. Procedure involving wrist and ankle are reported with the codes that include arm or leg in the descriptor. You can see here towards the base. So option C is your answer. Is that clear, coders? Are we good? Are we good with this guideline? So again, you can churn it in your manual so that you won't get it wrong next time. Okay, next question. Which of the following are appropriate for debridement dressing? Option A 15002 for surgical preparation of the leg wound, 97597 for active wound management debridement, option C 15100 for split thickness autograft trunk, arms, or legs, 11402 for debridement subcutaneous tissue. A diabetic patient has 6 square centimeter chronic venous ulcer on right lower leg. The physician performs sharp debridement of the wound, removing non-viable slaw and applies collagen wound dressing. The wound is left to heal by secondary intention. What say you, coders? So that's the key word here. Wound is left to heal by secondary intention. Okay, which one would you select? Okay, I can see that you all are thinking hard. Remember the criteria where you can build those surgical preparation code? Exactly. There you go. You all are fabulous. You're doing great job. Yes. So for coding 15002, that wound should be closed by primary intention, or the overall objective must be to close the wound or to treat the wound, right? So by the primary intention. So if it's left like that to naturally heal, you cannot code the surgical preparation CPT code. So the correct answer, you can maybe refer to the codes from the wound management debridement section. Okay, so remember, you cannot code the surgical preparation codes. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. There you go. Do not report 15002 to 15005 for removal of non-viable debris in a chronic wound, venous or diabetic, when wound is left to heal by the secondary intention. And that's what happened in our scenario. See the active management codes 97957 or 598 and debridement codes for this service. For necrotizing soft tissue infection in specific anatomic location, see the codes from 11004 to 11008. So I will once again check whether it's a wound management code. So I believe it must be the wound management codes that should be coded here. But the objective is to know the guideline. You cannot report 15002 through 15005 for the removal of non-viable tissue or debris in chronic wound when wound is left to heal by secondary intervention. So that is something which you must remember. All right. So next one, I think this is the last one. Of the following, which of the following scenarios appropriate use is an appropriate inappropriate use of surgical preparation of the code 15002 to 15005? Option A, incisional release of scar contracture resulting in surface defect. Option B, debridement of chronic diabetic ulcer that is left to heal by secondary intention. Option C, removal of non-viable tissue in a traumatic wound to prepare a skin substitute. Option D, excision of burn scar to prepare a tissue culture autograft. What say you, Chorus? Okay, you can type in the chat. I think there is something wrong with this scenario. So let's review the guidelines. So I will just skip this question. So the objective was to make sure that you all know this guideline. The clean wound bed may be also created by incisional release of a scar contracture resulting in a surface defect from separation of the tissue. Okay, and the intent, and as I said, if the intent is to heal the wound by primary intention or by use of negative wound therapy, you can code the surgical preparation codes. All right, so apologies for that last scenario. You all did a fabulous job, by the way, so far. So that's all for today's session. I hope you all did great, and this session helped you more to feel more confident about the grafting procedures and skin replacement surgeries. And if you think you need a little bit more guidance, that's absolute or practice or guidance, that's absolutely fine, because remember, mastery doesn't happen in one session. It happens with consistent learning, repetition, and right support. So I saw that someone were asking whether there will be a playback. Yes, there will be a playback. You can find all the session, all the previous sessions as well, which we had here at AMCI, the CPT Guideline Mastery session, under the playlist. If you go to the playlist and see CPT Guideline Mastery session, you can find all those sessions over there. All right. And this will be also in future will be moved into that playlist, so you can go there and you can find them. So Chorus, once again, so let me share the survey link in the chat. Here we go. shared it in the chat. And again, I would request you all to please take a moment to fill out that survey form which is shared in the chat. You can also let us know about the topics you're looking forward in the upcoming session. I think next week we will be covering some topic from the musculoskeletal system chapter. So if you have some, or if you have some topics in your mind, you can let us know from the musculoskeletal system chapter. We will definitely look into it. Okay, so coders, please do share your feedback. It is extremely important because only when you share it with us we are able to come back with more sessions and videos tailored for your needs. So please take a moment and let us know your thoughts. That's all we ask. So I can see a lot of people are still there for the live session. Please do fill out the survey form, and also let us know if you would like to have if you have any particular topics in mind for the next session. Okay, so also coders, if you really enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to see. And with that, we come to a conclusion of this week's CPT Guideline Mastery session. We will be back next week with another topic. Until then, stay safe, coders. Keep coding, and we will see you all next week. Thank you, Miss Tyree. Thank you, Miss Catherine. And as always, thank you, Miss Mills, for being there, encouraging the students in the chat. Thank you, team. Thank you, coders. See you all next week.
4,000 exam passers and free classes at AMCI. Learn to coach straight from home or on the road at AMCI. We're on the East Coast, the West Coast. We're all around the world. AMCI. AMCI.